Hi, it's Liz Snedden. Let's have a look at the idea of data in terms of accuracy and consistency. So this is important when we want to think about collecting data, so primary data. So one of the things we want to think about is how do we get accurate measurements? So we think about what equipment we're going to use that's going to give us accurate measurements. So if I wanted to weigh something that was quite small, then I would want to use one of the small kitchen type scales that go to 2 or 3 decimal places. If I want to weigh something that's really tiny, I might use some things like we do in a science lab, which are the really, really sensitive scales. So it's about thinking about what equipment is going to give us quite accurate measurements. And equally thinking about how to use those things accurately. So if I'm using scales, I need to make sure I zero it before I start doing that. If I'm using a stopwatch, again, I've got to make sure it's been started at 0, and all those kind of things. So we want that data to be accurate. So an accurate data means that the measurements are close to the true value. So you can see the 2 little target diagrams that I've got on the right hand side. If it's really accurate, then literally the data that I'm measuring is accurately measuring something that I want. So if I'm measuring somebody's height, I'm recording close to their true height. Whereas if I, for example, was measuring heights with students with their shoes on, then that's not going to give me their true height. And so in that case, you can see I wouldn't hit the target. I'd have low accuracy because I've got the heights with students with their shoes on, which is different from their true height without shoes. So we also want to think about, well, what are some of the factors that need to be controlled? So what are some of the things that can affect whatever it is that we're trying to measure? We want to also keep conditions the same every time we collect data. So if we have, for example, one person doing the measuring, then they're more likely to be consistent in their measurements. Another thing that we can do is, if we can, and it's not always possible, depending on time and money and etc., but if it is possible to collect repeat measurements, then that gives us again more accurate, more consistent data. Thanks for watching.